Chief Justice John Roberts stepped into the hearing room with the kind of confidence that comes from decades of experience. He believed there was little left in Washington that could truly surprise him, until Representative Jasmine Crockett took the mic and flipped the balance. Room 2141 of the Rayburn House office building held a strange quiet, not the peaceful kind, but the tense edge-of-a-blade silence that comes before something sharp slices through. It was, on paper, a routine oversight hearing. Yet everyone present could feel something stirring beneath the surface. Roberts took his place at the witness table, dressed in a navy blue suit that probably cost more than most of the staffers' monthly wages. He exuded composure, the calm of someone who had weathered storms and always come out unscathed. He knew the rules of this game: speak just enough, steer clear of traps, stay dignified and detached. But this wasn't a conversation about constitutional theory. This was about ethics, something that made even the most unshakable justices uneasy. Public scrutiny had been growing louder, questions had been mounting, impartiality, undisclosed ties, gifts never reported. The cameras were rolling, and this time no robe could shield him. As the hearing went on, members of the committee took their turns. Some offered polite inquiries, others tread lightly, careful not to provoke too much. And then it was Jasmine Crockett's turn. She leaned forward, adjusted the mic, and without raising her voice, drew every ear in the room. "Thank you, Mr. Chairman." A few people barely looked up. They knew of her, a freshman from Texas, former public defender, quick-witted in floor debates. But this wasn't a floor debate. She now faced the highest judicial figure in the land. Still, Roberts didn't flinch. He met her with the same knowing smile powerful men use when they believe they're entertaining an eager student. But Crockett didn't show up for his approval. She came to ask the questions others wouldn't. "Chief Justice," she began, "you've previously stated that the court holds itself to a high ethical standard, even in the absence of a formal code. Is that correct?" Roberts clasped his hands, answering smoothly, "That is correct, Congresswoman. The members of the court follow long-standing principles of judicial conduct." She flipped a page. "Then help me understand why there was no disclosure of Justice Merritt's relationship with a political donor, whose case appeared before the court just last year." That landed, cameras clicked, heads turned. Roberts adjusted his tie. "I'm unable to speak on ongoing matters or the conduct of individual justices," he said. Crockett didn't press, "Not yet. But you can speak on precedent, can't you?" "Yes," he replied. "Because if I'm not mistaken, the court has long considered the appearance of impropriety sufficient grounds for recusal, correct?" Roberts hesitated. "That standard has influenced many institutions, yes." "Then explain to me how a justice presiding over a case that benefits a close friend and donor doesn't at least appear improper." Her voice remained steady. There was no theatrics, just precision. Roberts responded cautiously. "Congresswoman, I believe we're entering hypothetical territory." "I'm not speculating," she said. "I'm citing your court's own financial records." Still, she wasn't done. "Do you personally review those disclosure forms, Chief Justice? Do you verify they're complete and accurate?" A pause. "There is a process," he replied. "Each justice is accountable for their own disclosures." She leaned back. "Interesting, because where I come from, if you're grading your own homework, that's not accountability, that's avoidance." A soft, surprised chuckle slipped from someone in the gallery. Roberts attempted to pivot. "Respectfully, Congresswoman, the judiciary was designed to be independent. We're not telling you how to rule." She interjected. "We're asking why patterns of ethical blind spots keep surfacing, and why nothing seems to change." Roberts tried to reply, but she raised a hand, not rudely, but deliberately. "I spent years in Texas courtrooms watching judges lecture defendants, black, brown, white, on responsibility, on how even the perception of dishonesty could ruin their lives, so forgive me if I don't accept that the highest court in the land can't be held to the same." Now, Roberts looked less at ease, still calm but alert, aware now that this wasn't going to pass easily. "You have no binding code," she continued, "no external oversight. That's not independence, that's insulation." The murmurs in the room returned. Reporters typed faster, staffers leaned in. She had control of the moment, not by force but by preparation. Roberts tightened his grip on the table. "The court is not above criticism," he offered, "but I would remind the Congresswoman, respect among co-equal branches is critical." She met his gaze. "I respect the institution, but respect without accountability is just a show, and the people who sent me here, they didn't ask me to admire your robe. They asked me to question why justice looks different depending on who's wearing one." For a moment, Roberts simply watched her. And something shifted. He no longer saw a new Congresswoman. He saw a challenge he hadn't anticipated, and she was far from finished. She slid a page forward. "Are you familiar with Dalton v. Mason County, 5th Circuit, 2009. Roberts squinted slightly. "That was a procedural ruling, judicial recusal." "That's right," she said. "It involved a judge with indirect financial ties to a law firm in the case. The court ruled that appearance alone was enough to demand recusal." She tapped the paper. "And yet, just last year, Justice Harland ruled on Mackin v. Delta Rail, where a longtime friend, also a major donor, stood to gain financially. No recusal, no explanation, just a 5-4 decision." Roberts didn't respond. "This isn't hypothetical," she said. "This is the soft rot of unchecked power." He cleared his throat. "I'm not here to litigate specific cases. I'm not asking you to," she said. "I'm asking how the public can trust your court when it starts looking less like a pillar of justice and more like a private club." Roberts bristled. "Your language is direct," she interrupted, "not inflammatory, and your silence, that's what's damaging." She let the weight of the moment settle before continuing. "In my district, a mother named Carla Jennings was denied financial aid because of a clerical error that made her look like she owed taxes. She appealed, she fought, but the court told her tough luck." She paused. "But a billionaire with connections to a justice, their case gets fast-tracked and wins." Roberts tried to maintain his tone. "The court must make difficult decisions with limited resources. But perception matters, doesn't it?" she asked. He paused. "Yes. Then maybe it's time you start caring more about what the public sees. Because right now, they don't see justice. They see privilege protecting itself." There was no comeback, no pivot. Just silence, and she wasn't done. "In 2013, you gave a commencement speech," she said. "You told students their credibility is their currency. That once people stop trusting your integrity, everything else falls apart." He nodded. "Then how does the court preserve credibility when public trust is in freefall, when more Americans believe you're driven by politics than principle?" She didn't wait. "You don't get to spend 2 decades building a reputation, then act surprised when your silence tears it down." She leaned in. "This isn't passion, it's precision. I'm not yelling, I'm holding up a mirror." Roberts looked unsettled for the first time, and she wasn't finished. "In Odessa, a man named Jorge Salgado filed a petition after his brother, detained in a private facility, was denied medical care. The court refused to hear it. No explanation." She looked him in the eye. "These aren't anecdotes, these are lives." Then her voice softened, not weakened. "I became a lawyer to believe in fairness. I stayed a lawyer because I realized fairness depends on who holds the pen." She let that settle. "You hold it, Chief Justice. But power without accountability isn't justice, it's insulation." And then the line that would echo beyond the walls, "You're right, credibility is currency, and right now, your institution is in overdraft." No applause. No grandstanding, just gravity. Roberts didn't reply, couldn't, not yet. Later, as others took their turns, the energy stage shifted. The questions felt sharper. Even Roberts responded with less polish, more caution. Outside the building, her words began to ripple. Clips shared, lines quoted, young people watching, rewatching. She didn't just speak to power, she made it listen. And as Roberts stood during recess, pausing before he left, he turned and offered one quiet acknowledgement. "Your district is fortunate to have you." Crockett looked up. "I know." And then she walked out. No fanfare, no final word. She'd already said everything that mattered.